So reaction to all this, as you can imagine, is flooding in from across the country. Joe Paris, you've tracked some of that today. So, Joe, let's start, zoom out, I should say, to start. Bigger picture here. Idaho's been in the top story across the country for the second day in a row.
Yes, and I'm hearing frustration from both sides that you're hearing about the decision to not make a decision. But yeah, the major leaders in the advocate world for reproductive health, they all joined a press call this morning, the entire group, to talk about the decision, what it means, and what the reality is for Idaho women. And they also talked about what this could mean for women abroad as well. But to be clear, there is really nobody celebrating the SCOTUS opinion. At best, advocates tell me the situation just lands them back where it started years ago. The timing ahead of a major presidential election in November. Alexis McGill Johnson, she's president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Federation of America. She summed up the situation like this.
Rather than issue clear rulings, they have left pathways for these decisions to come back to them later down the road, perhaps leaving it for when it's more politically convenient to say the quiet part out loud again. This is supreme gaslighting.
Local advocates and lawmakers tell me they feel the same. The Idaho Democratic leadership held a press conference this afternoon at the state capitol to talk about the decision, one that they agree just kicks the can down the road. In terms of solutions, Democratic leaders, Representative Alana Rubel and Senator Melissa Wintrow, say that Idahoans can best address this problem in the near future at the ballot box in November or in a future election with the ballot initiative. I asked what that idea could look like.
I think it would be very reasonable to return to something like what we had before Dobbs. I think there's a general consensus among the majority of Idahoans. Nobody wants, I think freely available late-term abortions. Those were banned before, and I think that would be something that everybody in Idaho could get behind, unless obviously there's a serious threat to the woman's life or health. But I think certainly having it be legal up to the point of fetal viability would be a very reasonable thing that I believe the majority of Idahoans would support, and would protect the safety of the women of Idaho, would protect their bodily autonomy, and would at least put us on the path to rebuilding the health infrastructure in Idaho that has been absolutely gutted in the past 2 years.
Democratic lawmakers were asked about new abortion legislation that could be coming in the next legislative session from either side of the aisle. And Brian, it's a big wait and see to see what the legislature makeup will be. And we know it will be new no matter what happens. We'll find out what their appetite is for new or clarifying laws. But it is interesting as we hear from lawmakers, doctors, the medical community. There is, I guess, unanimous criticism of the United States Supreme Court in terms of where did this opinion get us? Where are we now? As you highlighted, this could be several years until the United States Supreme Court could have this kicked up again. This will go down to the Ninth Circuit, but there's nothing to say that the Ninth Circuit, which is an appeals court, won't just throw it back down to the federal level where it started with Judge Windmill here in Idaho.
Yep, exactly. And when we learned last week as well, the chances of a change coming to this law in the next legislative session, pretty slim. Very little. And by the way, if there were to be some type of citizen initiative, it would not be able to qualify for this November. It would have to come back on a different cycle. And we already talked about that as well. Thanks, Joe.